Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude, where I do trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, I review YouTube channels. Occasionally, I'll review a movie, but really, I just do whatever the hell I want. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude in my car. Today, I just wanted to talk about my junior year of high school. Okay, during my sophomore year, we lived in, it's called West Valley City, Utah. Back then it was called Granger. And my dad moved for a job. He moved to this small town in central Utah called Gunnison, Utah. So all of us moved there for my junior year of high school. Now, to let you know exactly how small this town is, the school that I went to was 7th through 12th grade, and there was 240 kids in the school. The closest town was probably about 30, 40 miles away, but it wasn't really much bigger. The town of Provo, Utah was probably 45 minutes to an hour, well, probably closer to an hour away. But I only went there a couple times the whole time that I lived there. I lived there probably the end of 77, beginning of 78, and the beginning of 79. Or the end of 78 and the beginning of 79. So I really wasn't there for a long time. But the town was so small that the biggest thing to do on like weekends, there was really nothing to do in that town. They would drag Main Street, which was like one block long. And the hangout was Lund's Drive-In. It was basically like a old Dairy Queen. You'd walk up to the window outside and order, and they had picnic tables outside, or they also had inside where you could eat, but it had like maybe one or two tables in the middle and a couple booths, and that's about it. But that was the hangout. They had one movie theater that was only open on Friday and Saturday nights. In fact, I remember the whole time I was there, I think I only saw 2 movies there at the theater. Star Wars, and it got there late, and a movie called Kenny and Company. It's weird that I remember that stuff, but I do. I remember seeing those 2 movies in that movie theater, and it was an old, crappy movie theater. The sound was bad, the picture was bad, the popcorn was old. It's just one of those old classic movie theaters. The first job I had there when I was going to school was at the Happy Service grocery store. And I went into work one day, and they had taken me off the schedule because they said that it was just too slow and they didn't need the help anymore. So I talked to some friends at school, and they got me a job working with them at a place called Peterson Chevrolet, which was actually, it was the car dealership in town, but they also pumped gas, and we detailed the cars and stuff like that. So that was a pretty cool job. But one exciting mishap I had while I was working there, they had one of those, I think it was a 1977 or 78, I can't remember the year, but it was a Corvette limited edition pace car. And I remember it was like two-toned. It was silver and like black or gray, or a really dark color. And I was there alone one night, and I was told to detail and clean this car. So I did it. And then I thought, hey, nobody's here. I'm going to take this out for a spin. So I took the car out and just drove around town just to see what it would do. It drove really nice and everything. I thought this is the coolest thing in the world. Got back to the shop, and as I was pulling in, before I left, I had taken, and I was cleaning out one of the floor drains, so I had taken the grate out of the drain. Forgot to put it back in. As I pulled the car in, the right passenger side wheel, boom, right inside that hole. I didn't know what to do. I was just a young kid. I pretty naive. I panicked, and I called one of the mechanics at home. This is like probably around 11, 12 o'clock at night. And he actually didn't tell on me. He actually came into the shop. He put a jack underneath it, jacked it up, slid the grate back down, let it back down. And he chewed me out pretty good, but he didn't tell the big boss, so I didn't get in any trouble over that. So I got lucky. Another thing about living in a small town, though, is, especially this one, you were either a really good kid or you were a troublemaker. You were always in trouble. I wasn't either one. I was kind of in between. So it's kind of a good thing, because I was actually friends with both sides. I was friends with the kids that were really goody-goody, but I could also be friends with the kids that weren't. And another mishap I had working at that same place, another thing they used to do, this is kind of interesting, they would take cars and they would trade them with different dealers, different car dealers, like in Provo, which like I said was about an hour away. And I remember the owner's son, another friend of mine, and me, we all took a car to Provo, Utah. And on the way home, we just brought one back. And so we were all in that one. And they were the bad kids. So high school kids. And this is a different time. I'm not saying it's right, because it's not. But they had been drinking. So on the way home, I fell asleep in the back seat. I didn't drink. I never drank when I was in high school. But on the way home, I fell asleep in the back seat. Well, the kid that was driving was the owner of the Peterson Chevrolet's son. And we were driving in snow, and he slid off the road. Dinged up the side of the car really, really bad. We had to call a tow truck. He charged it to his dad. And the tow truck pulled us out, and we drove home and everything. We didn't get in any trouble for that. He did. But we didn't. He did from his father, though. But, yeah, I kind of got out of that one, too. My parents never heard about that. I never did tell them about it. And a lot of tragedies in a small town. That's another thing that was really bad. There was one kid that his father was at the landfill dumping out some garbage, and they was burning garbage, and he actually fell into the fire, and he died that way. There was these 3 kids. One of them I actually worked with. I went to school with all 3 of them, because like I said, it was 7th through 12th grade. They were all younger than me. I think the oldest one would have been in 10th grade. And then his brother was in 9th grade. And then the other kid that was with him was also in 9th grade. They went to Nephi, Utah, which is about 45 minutes away, to Rodeo. On the way home, the kid driving fell asleep at the wheel and went head on into a semi, and all 3 of them were killed. Now, like I said, 2 of them were brothers, and they were the only kids in the family. So it left the parents, completely alone. Lost both of their sons a year apart in age at the same time. And I remember hearing about that. We drove to Logan, Utah, and was visiting my grandparents. And that's probably about 5-6 hours from Gunnison. It's in northern Utah. But we were visiting my grandparents and heard about the car accident on the news, so I called Peterson Chevrolet, because I worked with that kid at Peterson Chevrolet, the one. And yeah, they told me about it and everything. I remember going to the funeral, how sad it was. Like I said, lots of tragedies there. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody's business. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot to do in that town, so you were either out Friday and Saturday nights getting in trouble, or you were just staying home, basically. There was, like I said, there wasn't a lot to do. We'd go to Ephraim sometimes, Ephraim, Utah, which was about 30 minutes away, to go bowling, because that was the closest bowling alley. and they have a college there and stuff like that, but we didn't go very often. But that's pretty much all I have for today. Yeah, Gunnison, Utah. I got involved. That's the first time I ever did any acting or singing, was in Gunnison. I auditioned for the school musical and I got in it, and it was Brigadoon. And I played the part of Charles Dalrymple in that. If you've ever seen the musical, he's the one that gets married. And the chorus teacher took a liking to me. And his son, Jimmy, was a good friend of mine. We ran around together all the time, and he was one of those kids that, he wasn't a bad kid, but he did get in trouble and different things like that. He didn't really conform to the others. He sadly passed away a few years ago, a heart attack or something like that. But that's pretty much all I have for today. Now it's time for a joke. A hurricane is headed for a small town. The news says that everyone needs to evacuate. A religious man in the town says, "I'm not going to leave my home. God will protect me." The hurricane hits, and it's bad. There's mass flooding. The police come to the man's door and tell him he needs to leave. The man says, "I'm not afraid. God will protect me." Just then, a National Guard boat comes by and tells him to get in. The man says, "I'm not afraid. My God will protect me," and he refuses to get in the boat. Eventually, the National Guard is forced to give up and move on to help others. Then the man drowns. When he gets to the pearly gates, he meets God and says, "God, why didn't you protect me?" God sighs and says, "I sent you the news, the police, a boat. What fucking more do you want?" Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hashtag Mean Gene, all that fun stuff. And if you like this video, tell all your friends, leave a comment down below. And if you didn't like it, then just shut up. And I will see you next time.